Yeah, like would you were you into sports as a kid? Like just tell us a little bit
Okay.
about it.
So I'm from the Midwest. I was born in LA, but I grew up in Wisconsin. So I moved there when I was 1. So I say I'm from Wisconsin because that's where I'm from, to be honest. And yeah, I played a lot of sports growing up. Mainly baseball and track. I was really fast, but then I stopped growing and I got slow. When you're tall, you're better at sprinting. It's a fact. So, um, anyways, I played baseball, football, track. I wrestled, but then something happened, and that's called video games. And the main one that got me back then was RuneScape, and yeah, obviously, RuneScape and World of Warcraft. Mainly, I mean, a mix of both, to be honest. So, like, I wasn't playing much FPS back then, actually. It was mainly just those two. And so, slowly but surely, I stopped playing sports and video games. I mean, looking back, it's a good thing, but back then, I was not that healthy. I'm sure you both can relate. But yeah, and then I think around middle of high school, I started playing Call of Duty. Maybe like freshman year, I started playing COD 4, MW2. Loved those games. And then I went back to PC and I started playing Source. I played like just like mini games and like death run servers, like obstacle courses. So like I was just playing movement based stuff and I loved it. And then CSGO came out and I played it just for fun, honestly. Like I had no concept of even like there was competition, to be honest. I just played for fun. And then a friend told me about ECA. Played ECA and I ended up being really, really good. Like, and it just got better and better. And that's pretty much like my story of like gaming and how I got into counterstrike, basically. And I played every type of game there is, really, and I still play most games, to be honest. So
So
Like
even in
oh
those
yeah,
early
you go,
days,
Hunter.
well, this I know you always think way far ahead. So, or maybe you're about to ask the same question, bro. To be honest, we spend too much time together. In those early days, were you like better than everyone else? Like, was there
Yeah, I
a?
was gonna ask.
I knew. Yeah, I figured we were gonna ask the same thing. Were you already like you're playing COD in high school? Were you better than all your friends, everyone you were playing with?
you guys are, first of all, you guys are good listeners. Like, you guys listened to the whole thing and like my whole spiel and didn't say a word. But anyways, um, yes, not at MMOs. I was honestly like mediocre at like PKing and RuneScape and PvP and World of Warcraft.
Okay,
Like,
PKing
honestly,
so hard though. To be fair,
Yeah,
so
that's
like
okay.
I was terrible. I could never get switches down or whatever. So, but Call of Duty, I was really, really good. Like, I played game battles and stuff like that, and I was like a 13, 14-year-old kid just dominating these like adults, and this little squeaker. And my KD it's gonna be weird, I know, but I played hardcore. I didn't play regular.
Oh,
I know it's strange, but maybe that's why I like CS so much, because it's very similar. But like, just one shot, one kill. Like the nade damage is crazy. Like, anyways, no radar. I love that. And my KD was like 3 or 4 and everything. Like, that was crazy good. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I dominated it pretty much. Like, I would go to
okay.
like local tournaments too and just win.
Dang, okay, so you're a freak if you're playing hardcore for fun. That makes a lot of sense. So like what age were you when you first discovered like, hey, I'm like not just good, but I'm like when you started going to locals, you said like when did you first really realize, okay, I could maybe like pursue this in some form or fashion?
See, Call of Duty, I wouldn't even consider that like, this was like, like MW2 release, for example, like at a GameStop. I would go to that, play at the tournament, dominate. But
Dang.
it's kind of like different when it's like actual competing, I guess you could say, not versus random, like, average Joes. So I think when I was in ESEA and I did my first ESEA Open, I feel like I really did really good, and I just like, I don't know, I got really good in CS:GO quick. I don't know what it was. The game just clicked with me. So the first 6 months, I was playing a lot, like 150, 200 pugs a month minimum. Like, I was playing so much, and I think kind of have to do that when you first start playing a game that you're trying to go pro in. But that's besides the point because it's not healthy. But yeah, I don't know. My first league, I just felt like I just dominated, and I kind of climbed like each like rank, like season after season. There was like open, I am like main, and just fucking invite, done. Like, I just made it, and once you're in, you're pretty much in unless you really shit the bed. So
What was it like back then as a young talent, like discoverability wise from a team? Like how do you get noticed and recognized? And what was the first moment where someone reached out or you reached out? How did that go down?
yeah, some good questions. These are all like obscure things that like I haven't thought about in a long time. But honestly, it was the 10 mans. Like, the old 10-mans with Dazed and Steel. That was like a really hard ring to get into. But there were other 10-mans that were like, I forgot his name. His name is Gank, I think. He was some guy who always made like kind of like tier 2, tier 3 10-mans. And sometimes like some better players would be in those 10-mans, like occasionally, right? Like they just find their way in there. So like when they see you play, sometimes it's word of mouth, really, and they speak about you. Your name gets out there. Then you either get invited to those good 10-mans, or you get a tryout for some random invite team. But I think having good stats is not enough back then. Like you had to like they had to kind of know you, play with you in a game, a pug. But 10-mans were honestly where I probably got recognized most. Like I was a 10-man dominator, like first pick over swag back in the day.
That's
Dang, that's sick.
incredible. So back in the day, then you're playing these 10-mans with these players, and I mean, all of us are not young, I'll say, anymore. So back in the day, who was it that you were looking up to as a player? Was there like someone that you like always wanted to be like, or someone that was really a role model as a player, or that you just thought was really cool as far as esports go?
I've answered this question before for ESL, and I'll answer it again, but it's Dazed. I know he gets memed all the time, and I think it's hilarious, and he probably thinks it's hilarious too. But he tried so hard all the time, whether it be in scrims, in pugs. Like he just had this mentality of like setting things up, communicating the whole time, not fucking around. I like that because I wanted to get good, and I wanted to be on his team every time because like I wanted to like learn from him, listen to him. And I wasn't perfect. I was a little shit kid back then, and I had my toxic moments, but I definitely like took in everything I could when I played with him specifically because it almost felt like we were playing a match. And it was like a 10-man, and I was like, this is awesome. Like the constant matches going on. I play with Days, so like I said, he likes to get mean, but I feel like I actually, even though I never played on a team with him properly, I attribute a lot of my success and who I am as a player and a person because of him. So thank you, Samuel Marine.
And this is my last question about, I know we've been throwing it back for a long time. I won't speak for Jake here, but for myself, throwing it back in the day, then, you know, you're running these 10-mans versus now, today. What's the difference in like, I guess the pro scene? Is there any difference? Like, is the camaraderie still kind of the same? Because I remember running 10-mans in like Call of Duty back in the day, or like just like private lobbies, and everyone was so close and so friendly with each other. Is that similar to how it was back then with CS? And is it still like that today, or do you feel like the scene's kind of changed a little bit?
Things definitely changed a lot ever since FPL and Rank S came out. I mean, I feel like it's always been like cliques of people, like people who hang out with each other. And, like, say you have the old 10-mans, like in those like Team Speaks or whatever, or Trillos, whatever it was back then, Mumble. They would have like little cliques where people would hang out together in their separate channels and stuff. And then the games go live, you kind of just hop in the channels and play. But these days, like people just go in FPL and leave pretty much. Like that's just it. You're done. Because it's like a lot of people are just playing it for the money most of the time. Because you can get decent money. You can make a couple grand a month playing FPL, which is pretty insane. But back in the day, we would play each other for money for like $10 to $50, sometimes $100 to make the games more enticing, right? I think that's what led to like FPL releasing actual leagues for money, from us playing for money and them being fun to watch and play. But yeah, nowadays I don't know. I don't play FPL anymore. I haven't played in a long time. Maybe like a year since I've played. I just don't like. I'm sure it's like good for like young guys to play and get better, but for me, it's like a lot of it's like the same old, and I feel like I don't learn as much as I used to. And the only thing I would gain from it is just like staying sharp individually, honestly. So definitely a lot different.
Growing up, did you have a dream team that you wanted to like play for at any point?
Let me think about that one. If I actually thought about that, because I just wanted to be the best player I could be, and it wasn't like there was players I looked up to. But I don't know if there's ever a team like I want to join this team so bad. Like, I think.
While you think for a second, guys, sorry, I'm gonna let my dogs inside real quick. They're losing their
You're
minds.
good. I'm still here.
Honestly, like organization-wise, OpTic was always like definitely one up there. I was like shocked that it became an option because, you know, I was a Call of Duty fan. I didn't like super get into the esports side of it, but I always watched like the old, you know, videos, like the YouTube videos, like when they were very prominent and not like in quick scoping and all that stuff. And I was just like, this is not real. Like when it became an option, and when Shazam was the real in we had back then. Shaz got us pretty much into OpTic. So yeah, when it happened, I was like, holy crap. And it didn't hit me until like the fan base actually started following us the day we got signed. It's like we all got like 20, 30K followers like that. And it wasn't bots. These were humans. Like it was nothing, no other, or even the only time this happened close was winning the major, and OpTic was still a bigger juice. So that's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
I was gonna ask you about that because like when it comes to esports teams, I think there's a few that people have in mind that just do things really, really well, and that was also I feel like what I personally call 2014 to 2018 or 2020 for me was like peak esports of like a lot of engagement, a lot of fans. These orgs were on the come up. You had FaZe and OpTic really taking off, Cloud9, Liquid. Everyone was like really pumping numbers. And so like, what was your experience like joining a team like OpTic? Because I think a lot of players describe that as maybe, like you said, like the numbers were pretty juiced. Like, did that make for a lot more pressure? Was it freaking fun? Like, what was that like joining a team like OpTic and realizing a fan base that strong?
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like there wasn't much pressure, at least for me. Maybe the other guys can speak differently, but we honestly didn't play that well at the start. Like we didn't do much. Like we had a few upsets here and there when we had like daps and stuff, but like before we got Mixwell and Tarek. We actually didn't do that well, and I think Hex was always like Hex wasn't beating that on our neck. It wasn't like you guys gotta get the results. Never. Like there was a certain point where he says like you guys gotta be doing content or you gotta be winning. You can't be doing neither. You know, so that's fair to be honest with me, because the way the OpTic functions with content, but. Obviously, we started winning, and then he was super stoked, and like he's like, "Do whatever fuck you want, just keep doing what you're doing," you know. But yeah, I don't know. And even in our worst moments, though, like we had a large phase of like where we were really bad after Stan as well left after the E-League Atlanta major, where we like, had all these stand-ins and people playing for us, and it was like we played so bad, but he never really said anything bad. Like Hex is, I don't want to speak like down about my past owners or anything like that, but Hex, I'm sorry, but he's like the best I've had. Just like I've said this before in other interviews, but he came to the house, like the CSGO house, like every day, whether it be for like groceries, just to see us, because I was living with just me and Mixwell at the time. It was a little, depressing because no one else came, but whatever. Like it was just us two just hanging out in a $1 million+ mansion, whatever. I know it sounds like, wow, what a life. He's complaining about living in a mansion, but when you're like isolated from society, it is kind of sad. But he came and would bring us out to dinners, to like breakfast, to just hang out, literally just to see us. And I have like flashbacks of being like playing FP all night and just being like sleeping till 1 p.m. and hearing a yo yo from Hex like with his vlog camera. I'm just like, please don't film me.
No.
But now it's like I think back, I'm like, fuck, we would have, good guy, like honestly, like a great owner, great human. So
I love so much about what you said. Like you got to either be winning or making content. I feel like that's such a Hex/OpTic thing, but it also like it makes perfect like logistical sense of what esports players need to be doing, right? Winning or making their work somehow. Yeah. I also I just remember Hunter. Sorry, I was a huge that was for me. I was like peak CS, and I remember watching all those freaking vlogs of the $1 million mansion. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, the pool indoors.
Mm-hmm. Hot tub as well.
Did that eventually go? It turned gangrene or something. It got.
Yeah, we were like boot camping or something, and it broke while we were gone, and then we came back. It was just like yellow, greenish. I'm like, we're not swimming. I mean, honestly, we swam in it very few times. The hot tub, however, got a lot of use because that was nice. In the winter, just an indoor hot tub, like, come on.
Yeah, I just remember all those days because for me that was great content. And then eventually you guys started freaking winning too. It's like the best of both worlds. But I remember those vlogs like it was yesterday, dude.
Yeah, I used to not. I'm gonna say I didn't like the vlogs. I was like I was more camera shy, I guess you could say. I was kind of like, oh god, here we go. Gotta do vision or gotta do interviews. But the more I did it, the more I got used to it. I was like, this is actually good. And then now, like, not necessarily recently, but in the past, I'd rewatch like the old visions.
Yeah,
and, like
looking back on them.
Thank fuck they recorded this. Like, it's actually so good. Like, thank God Hitch was there. Thank God they wanted to keep recording us. Like at every event. Like ESL, one of my favorite visions. For Counterstrike is the ESL New York one. Like when we we had a deep run in ESL New York, and that's just like it really hit me like how like we were huge underdogs, and that crowd was packed like in the Barclays Center. That was really like, and Hitch did a really good job with that video. So
yeah,
it's awesome. Jake, you might be able to word this better than I do if I scuff it, but
all right, scuff it.
You reminded me of talking about OpTic, talking about Hex and everything. You reminded me of our recent conversation about Scump, Jake, where Scump was talking on esports and creators versus pros and how much money people make. And Jake and I had a pretty long discussion, just the two of us, talking about like, especially in CS, it feels like a pretty different scene than any other esport where CS pros, I think at this stage, if you are winning and doing well, it's almost better for them to stay a CS pro and just keep winning, right? And because they always have a spot on a roster. If you're notorious enough, if you're known in the CS scene, then you're always going to have a decent salary and a decent spot on any team in CS. Versus creators maybe have a harder time. But Scum's point overall was that a lot of times today, creators have it better off than pros, especially when it comes to making money. Do you think you agree or disagree with that?
I think, I mean, I have a lot to say, but I guess I could say, like, I'm not a creator. I never liked creating content. I guess because it's not who I am. Laziness. I prefer to be out in real life more. I know it sounds like a cop out, but like, for example, this is like a tangent of to what you said, and I'll answer your question after. But my plan is like, honestly, like, right now I'm doing like performance coaching with Edward Cleland and Mindbody Esports, but I'm doing that for now. But I feel like in the future I kind of want to like do something else with my life, like outside of esports completely, because I want to like, have a different chapter like start and like close the last chapter. I love esports and it always be a special place and I always pay attention to it. But I want to kind of move on to something else because I think it's important to like have stages of your life. Anyways, to answer your question, I think that for CS right now, I don't know the intricacies of other games, but yes, it's very, very lucrative to be a pro right now. But when you create content and you've been doing it for a while, you create a base, like a structure for yourself that you can most of the time always go back to unless you like get canceled or whatever. But when you have that base, no matter what happens in the future, as long as you keep doing it and chipping away at it, you'll have that to go back to. But as a player, and I experienced this, when you stop, it's done. It's like poof. It's like the rug gets swept from under you, and it's like there's nothing there. Like you have nothing to fall back on because when you're done playing, you're done, and you can't just like make a salary and do nothing. And you can try to hold on and like get every last drop out of it, but you're still gonna be making a lot less than you were when you were getting sticker money, that salary, that prize money, sponsor obligations, whatever it is. It's a super lucrative job, but also like once you're done, you're done.
I think that's super. No, it definitely does. I think
No, very
one of
insightful.
the most interesting things you said was it's all interesting, but in the beginning you said that you personally like to have almost that separation. Like you like to go out and live your life, I think is what you said, which I think is interesting because pro players, a lot of people, yes, on one hand, obviously you're scrimming, you're traveling all the time, you're doing stuff, but when you're not doing that, you know that you're not doing, like it's categorized almost. Like you have a separation between I'm practicing right now or I'm competing right now. This is my pro player life versus I can go out and do stuff. Whereas as a creator, you almost have to be on all the time. And it's like always the stress of keeping up with the views. So I think that's super interesting. And obviously you moving on to other things in the future, I think is probably an extremely healthy like viewpoint that a lot of people in the scene don't have.
You have anything to say, Jake, or should I answer?
No, you got it. You go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might not make as much money depending on what I do, but I'm not like too focused on like monetary gain right now. Like, I played for 10 years, or whatever, and I enjoyed every moment of it. But I'm ready to like do something that's less stressful. And honestly, to be a pro, you can't really have that much of a life outside of CS. Like as much as I say like I need a life, like at my age, especially when you're an old fuck, like you need to like grind. You need to like grind as much as everyone else, if not more, to stay on it. So if you don't, you're gonna fall behind. It's gonna be painfully obvious in your stats, painfully obvious in the way you're just playing. And I think people hold on for too long. And I think I'm at a point where I want to just like have a life outside of CS, outside of esports, and having that means I really can't play because I would be doing a disservice to my org, my teammates, and myself. I don't want to lie to myself, like, yeah, let's keep playing and like hope it works out. No, you have to like really be all in with it, and you can't just half-ass it. So that's why I don't play right now. And maybe in the future I'll come back, but if I did, it would be because I'm, all in. So.
Okay, I was gonna ask
Yeah.
that next. If you intended to ever return, then, because I mean, like you said, like you don't want to half arse it. You
Yeah.
don't want to go all in. So, like you're either waiting for a time where you're gonna move on to a next chapter or want to go all in again.
I haven't retired yet, I guess, like formally, and I wouldn't say I'm not yet, but I'm like close to that point, and it's hard to like throw in the towel, so to speak. But I haven't been playing on a team since like June, so it's been a long time, and that's the longest break I've had probably by far. I think the longest before that was like 2-3 months. So I would say I have to see like I might start playing again just like for fun, like just for like scrims, you know, whatever, just with friends, and see if the fire is still there. And if it is, maybe I'll pursue like a young team like I did with EG Black. But if I don't have that, I'm not gonna force it because I'm not trying to just like scrape together like or scrape for every last penny, which some people do, and that's fine, you know. But I just don't. That's not what I would want to do, you know, because
Yeah.
like I said, I just don't think it's fair to anybody involved in that experience. So we'll see.
I think it's definitely like a healthy mindset, but it's got to be a tiny bit easier to have that mindset with the accomplishments you've had, right? Like, not
Yeah,
ev-
it's true.
like I
Yeah.
mean, it helps. Not every esports player alone can get a decade as a pro player, let alone to win a major and like do the things you've done. So like that's got to probably help a little bit, you know?
I appreciate that, you know, because a lot of times I'm harsh on myself, and I think I wish I did more, you know, like not that I just wish I would have won more, maybe, but then you think about there's probably a lot of players who are in my same position in terms of playing career, and they maybe haven't done nearly as much, you know. So like it's not good to always compare yourself to others, which I'm sure everyone struggles with in everyday life. But I appreciate you saying that because it's true. And maybe if I didn't win anything, maybe I would be playing still and really striving for that. But I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of great teammates, a lot of great orgs behind me, and I had a a good peak. So I think I really like I killed it when I had the chance to. So
Yeah, like a lot of different pinnacles to look back on, and luckily moments that have also been recorded, you know. But
that's true.
beside, I was looking through some old freaking OpTic moments, and I came across this freaking viral one from way back. It was I don't know if you remember this. It was the toxic comms clip.
I've talked about this a million times, which is fine. But yes, it was a NAF on Nuke at the not RMR. It's back then it was the major qualifier. But yeah,
Like
I remember it.
it's just so funny because like nobody ever is used to seeing like Naf have any emotion, and then you're just like pretty calm about it. Like,
Which is because
oh
we were like brothers. But I mean, we still are. Like we're still like really good friends. Like, and the way the interaction went down is like we're just like siblings just bickering, you know, and it sounds bad. But it's not though. Like we like the next round we're like, boop, reset, we're done. We didn't
no,
give a
yeah,
fuck, so we didn't care. But people they latched onto that one moment like, holy crap, Naf's toxic or Russia's toxic, and me and Naf like we forgot about the whole round even after we won. We're just like we don't remember it, you know, until we saw it on Reddit.
yeah. Like I remember back to that clip, and I can only imagine the way it was interpreted. And then when I watched it back this morning, I was like, that sounds like guys, two friends who are really close and not afraid to like just talk to the other person. And just unfortunately, it's live comms.
It wasn't healthy. Don't get me wrong. It's like yeah, that's okay, but what I'm saying is sometimes if you have a sibling, you'll talk to them like an asshole, and if someone who never knows you sees that like whoa what the hell, but you just know it's your sibling. It's like it's a in the moment thing, and you're just gonna get over it instantly. You know, it's how it
Yeah.
is.
Hunter, sorry, I just got like one more CS question. I gotta ask because obviously I've never had a chance to ask you. When it comes to like top moments you have had in CS, I can imagine what your answer is gonna be, but if you got to name one or two and maybe like describe what those feelings are like, because I'm sure there's a lot of like aspiring players who like are chasing that feeling.
Mhm.
So can you maybe describe some?
Yeah, I'm just gonna not mention the major. I know unless you want me to talk about it, but I think I've talked about it so much that it's
Yeah,
obviously my career highlight and it's amazing. But there's some moments that are like really special for me that are different. That's
yeah,
okay.
heck yeah,
All right, so the first is probably when I qualified for my first major. Definitely, like that's probably number two, like a close number two actually, because when you're like a young player, all you want is that sticker, that one sticker, like get it to get in the game, not for the money, but for like you're in the game forever, you know. And like you get to play against all the best players. So that was with OpTic. The first iteration was Stanislaw and Daps, and we were in Poland. I'm trying to think if that was our first major with OpTic. I think it might have been our second. So I think we failed at the RMR with Shazam, if I remember right, and that was a big. You said like a lot of pressure. That was rough, like losing that. Anyways, then we made it the next time we tried, and yeah, that was just like I remember like just being like numb, like my hands were literally numb. And then the last round was like 15-14 for us, like one round away. And yeah, it's just like it was pure euphoria, you know. And then the second one I can think of is probably I mean the E League win season 2. It's like I was the MVP, which honestly I did not expect. Like, yeah, I played great, but Naf like full on carried us in the final. I thought he was gonna get it because he won us the event. So in my opinion he should get it, but I understand I was more consistent throughout the tournament. But the craziest feeling is like getting to the after party because we got there late because obviously we're playing a final and stuff and it went 3 maps. like everyone was there already, and like all that happened was like the bar went fully quiet and everyone just fucking started clapping like a standing ovation. I was just like, because my whole team just came in and I was like, what the fuck, this is crazy. And there's always these like legends that like, you know, VP like and like SK or whatever, just teams like I always look up to. And like I remember talking to like Neo and he's like, bro, you played so well. I'm just like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, you know, I was like, because I was still like a young kid back then. It's like we hadn't done that much. One Northern Arena, and that was okay, but like this is different. So yeah, when these people just come up to you, and like it's like you're, no pun intended, like you're on cloud nine. You know, it's like you're literally up there. You feel like you're high on life, which is awesome. So
That's awesome.
That's cool. Jake, I just have one general one, then I have the transitional question. We can go into some clip reviews. I know we've held you for a little bit here.
no, dude, don't worry. So,
word. So as someone who has been around esports for so long, especially CS, and seen kind of the waves of franchising and how that's affected esports, how do you feel about? I don't know if you've talked about this already. How do you feel about the changes coming next year that are supposed to be coming as far as CS goes to you know, how teams are qualifying and franchising and all that good stuff?
I mean, it's like a thing is like with CS specifically, honestly, it's never really made money, which is crazy. Only a few orgs have ever actually made money in CS. It's always been like net losses and just, you know, preparing for the future, like investing for the future. Like in 5-10 years, esports is gonna be insane. You know, that's usually what they say. But from most of my teams, like even when I was really successful, always lost money. So maybe this is a point where like a change like this where it's more like structured is needed, but then you look back to like Overwatch League and all these other like franchises, like I don't know if it worked out for COD necessarily. You guys can tell me because I don't pay attention as much anymore to COD, but I know like I feel like in Valorant too, like it didn't play off that well because a lot of the tier 2 teams got effed, you know. And like yeah, there's still like a circuit to make it to tier 1, but like for half the year, if you're not in that league, there's nothing to do. Like it's like you're just scrimming and playing maybe like cups. So I feel like I don't know if like this is gonna kill off the tier 2 scene or not, but I think it's super important to have a tier 2 scene, or like players like me or players like Naf, people like, you know, hidden gems that climb through the ranks. Like sometimes it's hard to like find them if you don't have that tier 2 scene to see like or like a Donk who's like, you know, insane in CS right now. Like he was farming tier 2 probably for so long, and that's probably how he got picked up. But like if you don't have that, sometimes you don't even notice these players.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of esports is learning right now. It's like the coming back to that stress on like getting to have these random players come up through different like tier 2, tier 3 scenes. And so I think it's gonna be awesome to see what CS does. Jake, do you have any more?
Yeah, this is my last one before we do some VOD review, Rush. But it's always clearly been like a focus of yours on fitness and your physical health. Can you maybe speak to like how important you think that is while also being a competing player? Like, do you think that yeah, like how important that is, and have you always kept up on that?
Yeah, I would say like even though like I was really good before I started lifting and stuff and working out, like I was good. Honestly, my mental health wasn't that great. I was like, I had anxiety, maybe slight depression, things like that. But that also comes with a poor diet, poor sleeping habits, you know, not working out. So yeah, I was playing well, but I wasn't happy, honestly, that well. Like maybe like towards the end of OpTic I was, or beginning OpTic, but like Conquest days and stuff, I wasn't that happy to be honest. But when I started like working out, my whole mentality shifted. Like everything, like the sun was brighter. Like everything just felt better. Like food tasted better. Like everything just when you start like working out in any capacity, it doesn't have to be like lifting weights like I do. Even nowadays, I like do a mix of lifting weights and running because I find it's important. But it's gotta find something that you enjoy doing that gets you active, and cut out as much as you can processed foods. I know it's hard, you know, being a gamer, getting an energy drink, whatever. But like I felt so much better when I started eating more like whole foods, like, you know, just fruits and meats and things that like are natural, and then moving my body. And I felt like everything, like I had problems I had that probably would have gotten just diagnosed and like medicated, which I didn't, they went away. So like I like a lot of times when people like just want to, you know, go to a doctor and get a pill, instead look within and what your habits are. And some people do have it, and the good habits don't fix that, right? That's different for me. Obviously, it worked for me, but you gotta, before you look to like you know, medication, look to like fixing your habits and like morning sunlight, you know, staying hydrated. These are all small things that like add up to a big thing. And I feel like when I first started even just lifting, I was stupid. Like it's a process. Like I would go for like 3 hours, like, and I would go 6 days a week. I didn't give my body time to recover. I was always tired, like in terms of like my body. And you learn over time, like how to like, you know, get better and better. So it's not gonna be an overnight process. So you just gotta be consistent about it and chip away at it every day.
Sweet.
I was like all over the place in that conversation.
No, I didn't
No.
word it the best either. It's all good.
I think that's a great answer. I like to see how pros now these days. I feel like there's more of a focus on that. Like org's starting to hire, you know, like their wellness coaches, like Edward, right? Mind Body.
Yep.
Like people are orgs are finally paying attention to that because they're seeing, I think, the benefit of that, whether it's in gameplay or even just mental health outside of gameplay. You know. So the general question I like to ask before we go into looking at a few clips is, what is your advice that you think most players could probably benefit from in Counter-Strike? Of like the one thing that people could really do better across the board that would probably make you a better player?
Probably like it's hard to like formulate like how to word this, but basically like every game you play, you can learn something new. So like always, if you die in whatever way, you can just usually a takeaway from that, like what you did wrong. And I feel like some people get in like I'll call it like chimp brain, where you just kind of play just to play, like you're just playing to like frag or just playing to play. But if you really want to improve, like writing down like your deaths in a game and just saying like, this is what happened, this is what happened. Sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes you get TK'd, you know, like shit happens. But a lot of times you can learn from what you did. And I feel like you can also learn from a lot of people, maybe even worse than you, like gimmicks or nades. Like, so just having an open mind and having a really like, I guess the best way to put it is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And it's like realizing you can learn in every single game and get better in every single game, and trying not to let your emotions get the best of you, you know?
Yeah. I think I'm waiting now, Jake, on someone to, because of Cadian, to say, just start hacking. Just cheat, and then you'll get better.
I was going to joke about it earlier. I just decided not to.
I'm like giving the full wholesome answer, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think that's true. But if I wrote down every time I died, I would have a really long list.
Yeah, maybe like save it for like scrims or matches, not like every game. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a minute here just to transition. So our screen's gonna be a little whacked up for a second. I'm gonna share a screen to Discord, which is how we will just watch a few clips here. So let me.
And then feel free to like interject live and have him pause it or fast forward or just like give your commentary live, or you can wait till the clip is over. It's really up to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
But it probably won't be too complex clips here.
That's gonna be like a spin butter.
Wait, so yeah, disclaimer here is that we have also not seen these clips yet. These were submitted to us, so we have 4 of them here lined up.
No,
so I can't
audio review. No.
Yeah, hopefully there's no photos sneaked in here or anything like that. Yeah. But should be okay. I would say, yeah, it's just general advice. It's nothing too stressful here. If you see anything funny or whatever, it's up to you. Also, let me know if it's too loud or anything like that.
You guys just trying to show off, are you? Like, just showing a highlight. Come on.
No.
You guys trying to improve, just showing his talent.
Vidéo?
Won't be right. Figures advantage.
Le dernier 4 va, recherche pas.
Clip. It's French.
Voilà le
Alright.
cheese.
He's just trying to show off. Like, what can you say? Like, alright guys, yeah, you should have sprayed a little less in that one kill. No, this is like obviously insane clip. So like, I remember a few times in my career hitting that shot, that first shot where like the guy's jump spotting, and you just know like you're just flowing after that. Like you're in the flow state. You're like, alright, this round's over because you just hit that pixel shot, right? So.
Okay,
Well
so
played.
that last 5 seconds, 4 bullets left. You're in a 1v1. You reloading or you keeping it?
See, he's not sure where he is. He's pretty sure he's not market because he's showing his back to it, and he probably knows he would have peeked by now. So he's either upper B flanking or cat, or the guy called it. But I would probably reload just because like you can sit behind the pillar on his left here, the van pillar, and just reload safely. But I understand like this is like highlight action. This is a pug. Probably he's like I'm going for it. So like I understand why he didn't reload, and maybe some people wouldn't.
Also, as a general note for some of these, because that probably is a common theme, is people submitting good plays. You can also say what you think they did well, what you did. But
I mean,
just
yeah, it's cross replacement. Obviously, like you could go back like a bit to when he's hugging this wall.
yeah.
Yeah, play it, and then when he that's fine. When he hits the
Non.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Météo?
Alright, now. So like this next part, he like goes against the wall, and again, this is like such like a what do you call it, like beginner tip, but like the way he's like just looking at the wall, when he aims out, he's gonna be head level, right? So he's gonna insta kill him. You can play it, but you can see what I'm talking about. Like he's just aiming right now head level, so he's like on his head right away. Like that's like something that you, as a pro or even like a average player, you already know, but as a beginner, you don't even think about that, and it's such a huge advantage. So yeah, good cross replacement.
All right, now we got G2 Carbon here.
Perfekt, Digga.
Little Insta-Round action.
Ganz weg ist der.
Lang.
Einer lang, rundherum.
Kurz und hinter uns war schon. Pit hinter euch.
Oben Apps.
Pit,
Alright.
schon gelandet.
Lang noch einer.
Guy in pit's low.
Lang noch einer.
I think
Kurz.
killed
Ich
him,
hab
but
kurz.
honestly, Glock is so fun to use. So it's
Library?
such a good gun.
You and me must have different blocks.
You're right.
There's just blanks. No.
Ganz ruhig, ganz ruhig.
Alright, so
Jetzt kannst du ihn voll
he's I gotta commend his shooting style. It's like very like some people panic spray the Glock and it works. Just like literally full as fast as they can and it still gets kills. But he's tapping away and like taking his time. It's not like he's German, so I mean Germans always have good pistols. But yeah, I nothing I can say besides good positioning and keeping his back at like he's not keeping his body exposed to two angles at a time. He's mostly whenever he's peeking, he's making sure he's exposed to one angle at a time, which is pretty standard. And yeah, I think his shooting style is very just cool, calm, and collected, and that's why pretty much all of them are headshots.
So what's
Are you a
the?
Glock? Okay.
Go ahead.
Are you a Glock burster or a single shot guy, or it depends on the situation?
Burst. I mean, I have had it in the past when the Glock burst was a little better. Like burst, it has a time and place, but that's more like style points. I feel like.
Gotcha.
I'm like, you hear a guy coming around the corner and it's 1v1 and there's no time left in the bomb. I'm gonna burst his ass. But if it's like I can lose the round, I'm not bursting. Hell no. No way.
My question was just going to be, and again, the thing I always tell people is that I'm not good at CS. I grew up a Call of Duty player. I'm more so on that side of the spectrum of things.
I'm with you on that.
what's the? Are you with me on that? Are you?
Nice.
I was
Yeah, wait a
No, I
second.
mean,
You're-
with on Call of Duty, I'm saying. Like,
Okay,
I
okay.
literally played Call of Duty growing up, so.
So my question was going to be after this guy, I mean, after so many people died to this guy in this corner, in this spot, I feel like I would feel like I needed to rotate out of this corner and to
No,
move
I'm
out of
feeling
it
that.
because so many people you've killed so many people right there. So why does he not move and go to a different spot? Because they're going to be calming your position. And so why not rotate out?
I mean, the only way you can get out is if he runs or walks, sorry, and like that takes too much time. And while he's walking, he might get killed walking from apps. You kind of just in like he's in his zone like the other clip. Like you kind of just keep going back and forth and swapping back and forth. This is a really good angle, honestly, because you have a headshot angle on Moto, like the left side, and this right side, it's like it's a right eye peek for the CT like behind him, but like it's still not an easy kill because you kind of blend in with the boxes behind you. So yeah, if you were to change positions, he would have to run it because you can't walk it. It's not enough time for that, and they'd hear that anyways. He's like, oh, he's backside now, so like they would know. So he's just, I think it's fine to stay in position. He's feeling it, and there's no reason to. If it's working, it's working, right? And I understand what you're saying though. There's time and place for repositioning.
All right, we got GK.
This angle is so hard as a terrorist to clear. I was a middle player in Vertigo. This is middle, so it's the prime.
Alright.
I hope the clip is only this. It's just him holding.
I mean, it's getting there. It's getting close.
I think it is. I think.
Oh. Nice.
Wait, where did he die from? Go back.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Did he crouch and he moved across when he crouched?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh,
Like,
oh.
that's-
Whoa,
so like, that's what you call CS timing right there.
that's crazy.
Like, I would be pissed too. I'd be done. That's happened to me before where I've like
Nice play.
held an angle for like 20 seconds and either I do that or I blink and then they peek. Oh my god, that's so annoying.
You're the full 18 seconds.
That
it's one of
was crazy.
You write it down to like, nothing can be done. Like,
Don't
that's
crouch. Never look
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But keep staring.
Yep.
Wait longer, idiot.
Yeah, so what's the benefit to holding angles like this? Like, how do you decide as a player then how long to hold and like when to look away? Like after 30 seconds of holding the angle, how do you decide like, okay, they probably went a different route, I should stop holding it or keep holding?
You just keep pulling it until either your teammate says otherwise, like, hey, rotate, or yeah, you just gotta keep holding it. And then sometimes you will get like eyes start hurting because you're holding this angle forever. And some players will like move their mouse up and down and like do things to like kind of stay like zoned in. Like Stewie does that. He'll go up and down, up and down, up and down. But if it's like a 5v5, nothing's happening, there's no information, you have no reason to move. You just gotta stay there. That's what he's doing. And he probably like maybe blinked, like he's like, oh fuck, I gotta rest my eyes or something. And that's why he got unlucky. But yeah, sometimes you gotta sit there for a minute straight.
Do you have any moments like that in pro play where that you can remember?
Not that I can remember, but I know it happened many times. Like that's why I can't remember because it's a more frequent than you think. Like getting CS or getting time into like it's very common.
That'd be so frustrating. Also nerve-wracking. I feel like
Yeah.
imagining being on stage competing and like you're holding an angle against another one of the best players in the world and you're just like, please, please, please. Oh, God.
You can't think about that like in that way. You gotta be like just like I'm playing a fucking scrim or I'm playing like a pug. Like you think like, oh god, there's people looking. Like I gotta hit the shot. Like then you're gonna actually miss the shot. You know, so it's gotta be like you just gotta be locked in. Like
Yeah,
just playing a
zone it out.
game. Just playing a game.
All right, this is the last one we got. We have Swill CS here.
Daggle action, default daggle action.
Alright, go.
Is default.
CSGO. It's definitely not CS2.
Nice.
Getting that old clip.
Nice.
Oh,
1v1.
when he's done, we'll replay the transfer for the boys.
Keeping the daggle out.
Yeah, I've seen this. Honestly, I've seen this a lot. I don't understand it. Maybe it's going for the clip,
Has to
but I would always bring the Galil out. Maybe it could be out of bullets, but I doubt it.
No!
Nice.
Holy
Alright, let's go back to the first the transfer. Yeah,
Nice.
he's going. Alright, I mean that's crisp. You know, what can you say besides he's hitting his micro flicks, and for some
Nice.
reason he's doing the whole left to right hand swapping, which I never understood that, but people do that because it's like a tick, you know, like people do it. But yeah, I mean, what can I say other than he has really good aim and good adjustments? You know, it's not easy to do those like micro flicks, like I said, and a lot of people just over adjust or under adjust, and like Jake said, why the fuck's the Galil not out? Like, what are you doing? I'm just kidding. Obviously it worked out, but
Are there any? My only question with that then is: are there any ticks, any habits that you had as a player that you know, like pulling your knife out, swapping, like spamming anything, like?
I guess like I would definitely swap to my knife a lot, and I had to like kind of train it out of myself because it's not a good habit to have. Like I definitely lost like duels because I would pull my knife out at the wrong time, or definitely bad.
And that'll make it into a highlight video too.
Oh yeah,
The knife
100%.
swaps.
And it'll be like that, like, you ready? Let's go! Like the fucking clip, and then there's like 0 kills. No, but you know, those are hilarious to be honest. But I'm glad I don't have any. Yeah. Other than that, though, ticks. I don't know if I remember any other ones that like I would do consistently. I think I was pretty like on myself of like if anything bad habits were to come, I would like train them out of myself because there's some people who like You know, like say like you're walking around the map, like and you know where someone is, like they'll just pull their knife out and just walk with their knife out, and that's a thing. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, why would you ever do that? Like, what if like there's no benefit doing that? So sometimes if I see that like on a teammate, I'll tell them like after like, hey man, maybe just keep your gun out. 'Cause, you know, people have died just because like they'll walk their knife out into a guy and they're like, you know, like a deer in the headlights is dead. So.
But it
Yeah, I think
feels
I'm-
better, man. It feels nice.
Yeah, I
to
know.
look.
Yeah, it feels clean to hear that noise.
You can inspect your knife and look at the nice money you spent in this game.
I think that's all we got, Jake.
Yeah, that's all we got, man. I just want to say thank you for doing this. You were dope. Had some great answers, some great insight, man. It was freaking fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to talk to you guys and reminisce and see some community highlights, even from CSGO. But it was enjoyable to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you for
sir.
being here, man. I'll send you a follow-up DM, all right?
Sounds good. All right, see you
All
guys.
right,
Thanks for
all right.
having me.
Take care, dude.
Peace.